We thank God it's Monday. So without taking too much of the time again, I'm inviting the professor himself so he could take us into today's lessons as well. If you are ready, like I am ready, then please let's engage our chat. Let's code. Let's code. Let's code. Let's engage the chat. Let's code, and then would our professor come in? Let's code. So who is there? Let's code. Let's engage the chat. Let's code. Thank you. Let's code. All right.
Good evening to you all. I welcome you all to day 2 of our 14-week C++ coding bootcamp. In this bootcamp, we are preparing beginners and giving them the opportunity to get real experience in programming and to help them to become professionals. We are going to be coding every single day. Today we have some codes we are going to write, and it's going to be fun. I want to share my slides with you for us to get started. So let me just do that now, and we will begin. All right, so this is day 2. I believe you can see my screen. This is day 2 of the 14-week InfoSource Coding Bootcamp. And today, we are going to take our very, very first lesson. And it's all about computer programming. So I'm going to ask a simple question about computer programming. In this week, we will be building upon our understanding of computer programming. And after this week, there's going to be a lot more practicals. All right, so what is computer programming? Did you know that programming is the most valuable skill in the tech world? Did you know that computer programming is the most valuable skill in the tech world? Stephen Hawking said, whether you want to uncover the secrets of the universe or you just want to pursue a career in the 21st century, basic computer programming is an essential skill to learn. This is myself. My name is Darlington Fadams. I have 17 years industry experience in computer programming, web design and networking, graphic design, and I've been working with real companies, doing real projects for a very long time. I also have 7 years lecturing experience. So for the past 7 years, I've been working as a full-time lecturer. I'm the senior lecturer of InfoSource Technology Institute and Agape Harvest Institute. If you check right here, you are going to see my skills and interests. And the first one is about computer programming. When you click on this link here, it will take you to my YouTube channel where you will see some of my works. I've recorded over 100 IT lessons over there. So once you visit my YouTube channel, you get access to different kinds of training in IT. If you don't understand Excel and you want to know Excel, I have training in Excel, I have training in Word, I have training in PowerPoint, I have training in almost every area of IT. So you can take time and check out my YouTube channel and of course subscribe to it and you'll get more lessons from me. I've been doing web design for so many years. Personally, I have built over 500 websites for companies. I also love graphic design and I also love art. Art is my hobby. Whenever I get free time, I draw. So I've created another YouTube channel. This is my second YouTube channel. And when you visit that channel, you see me drawing live. So if you want to see me draw, you just click on this and watch some of my drawings. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel. All right. Today's motivational quote says that it isn't where you came from. It is where you are going that counts. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter which village you are coming from. It doesn't matter which family you are coming from. It doesn't matter what your family couldn't do for you, what your parents couldn't do for you, what your dad didn't do. It doesn't matter your past. It doesn't matter how difficult your past was. It doesn't even matter what you are going through right now. It is where you are going that counts. And so if you have a vision, just focus on that vision, because that vision will take you places. Your future is the most important. This C++ coding we are learning, it is going to take you places. Once you become good at it, it doesn't matter where you came from. This knowledge will take you places. It will take you places, and that is what counts. So educate yourself, empower yourself, and move into your future with great excitement. All right. So let's get back to the lesson, and it says, what is computer programming? Now, someone might have joined this bootcamp not really understanding what is going on. So what are we really learning in this bootcamp? Now, we are actually learning computer programming. So the question is, what is? It says that computer programming is a process of creating computer software. Creating computer software. So this bootcamp is all about learning how to create computer software. Did you know that all the software applications you use, people actually made them? Maybe you've used Microsoft Word before. Do you know that someone actually created Word? PowerPoint, Excel, Photoshop, someone actually developed it. Someone made it. In this life, almost everything we have and almost everything we own, people actually make them. The computer, your phone, your bag, your shoe. Do you know that people actually made those things? Even your clothing. Someone took time and made the dress you are wearing or the shirt you are wearing. Someone actually made it. And so when it comes to all the apps on our phones and all the apps on our PCs, we have people who are trained to create software. So the process of creating computer software is computer programming. And so if you didn't know what we are here for, we are here to be trained to know how to create computer software. And it says that using a programming language, using a computer programming language. So computer software is created using a computer programming language. How do we create computer software? We use a computer programming language. In that language, we write instructions to our computer, and our computer follows the instructions and executes the commands. What is computer? What is a programming language? A programming language is a computer language that is used by programmers to communicate with computers. So programmers use programming languages to communicate with computers. And so we are here to learn programming. And again, programming is done by using a language. And so that is why we have to pick a language and learn that language. Now, the language we have selected for this particular bootcamp is a very important language. With that language, we can communicate with our computer. That is a computer programming language. What are some of the examples of these programming languages? There is a programming language called C. There's a programming language called what? C. Now, this particular programming language and people were using it. But then someone saw that it has some limitations because there are certain things like object-oriented programming that cannot be done in C. And so someone actually took the C language and modified it and added object-oriented programming and other features. One man did this. And when he finished, he was actually thinking of how to name the new language he has created. He got an idea and he named it C with elements. He got another idea later and named it C with objects. And later, he actually realized that he has to name it C++. So this language right here called C++ is a language that was created out of the C language. The C already existed, and C++ came out of C. We also have a language called C#. We have a language called Java, Python, PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Swift, SQL, and Ruby. There are hundreds of programming languages. These are just a few of them. So wait a minute, let's talk about this again. All right, so we are saying that computer programming is all about creating software. I think I would like to know how to create software. Okay, wait a minute. How do I create software? I create software by using a programming language to send instructions. Okay, wait a minute. So what are the programming languages you can use to send the instructions? These are the languages we have on the screen. We don't use English, French, Spanish, Japanese, Russian. We don't use those languages to communicate with computers because computers have their own languages they understand. And so if you want to have the career or the skill of creating software, you need to learn one of the languages that the computer understands so that you can send instructions to create software. If anyone asks you about programming, they are going to ask you about the language you know. There is nowhere that you mention that you do programming or you're a programmer or you're a developer that you will not be asked this question. Which language do you program in? When they ask you this question, don't go and be mentioning human languages. In the world of technology, we have languages designed for communicating with computers, and you have to be trained in these languages. I went somewhere one day and I was communicating with someone, and the person got to know that I'm a programmer. And the way he asked the question, I thought he was also a programmer. So I asked him, are you also into programming? He said, oh, yeah, I do programming a lot. I like programming. Then I asked the obvious question, because let me tell you, anywhere that you talk about programming, the next question is, which language do you program in? So I asked him this question, which language do you program in? Then he said, oh, English, French, and I started shaking my head. He had no clue. He had no clue about computer programming. And so don't make that mistake. When they ask you about programming, you need to start mentioning C++, Java, Python, PHP, HTML, CSS, MySQL, C. Once you say that, then they know that you are really an IT person. Now, these languages, sometimes you need to learn a number of them to be able to be an advanced programmer. Other times, you need to specialize in a particular language. There are some development that you need to add 2 or 3 languages before you'll be able to develop on that platform. And so one of the very best languages is what we are learning here. In the next few days, you will understand why this language is so important. We are here to learn C++. Now, why do we choose a language? Okay, why are we not learning CSS? Okay, wait a minute. We can't just decide that we want to learn CSS because there's a reason why we choose a language. Let's talk about some of the reasons. We choose languages because of the platforms we want to develop on or for. Let's say you want to develop for iOS, you want to develop for Android, you want to develop for Windows. That will inform your decision as to which language you have to choose. Number 2, maybe you want to develop for mobile or web or desktop. That will inform your decision. If you want to be a web developer, you cannot do without this language, PHP. PHP is a language for the web. Facebook was developed in PHP and a little bit of JavaScript and jQuery. Today they have advanced and they have added so much. But PHP is a language for the web. So if you want to be a web developer, you want to build software that will run on the web. When you learn programming, you understand that there's a difference between a website and a web application. We have web apps. Web apps are different from websites. A website is just like an online brochure that gives information about the business. So you go there, you read about us, contact us, our services, our pictures. That one is just like a brochure. But apart from that, we have intelligent websites, like websites that can process payments, websites that can process orders, shipments, websites that can interact with users and communicate, let people even connect people together. Those websites are not ordinary websites. We call them web apps or web applications. So if you want to be a web developer, you need to learn PHP, you need to learn MySQL, or you learn ASP or JSP or any of the web languages. So watch this. You choose your language because of the platform you want to specialize in. If I want to specialize in web, I can't do without PHP. Also, I can't do without HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Now, listen to this. PHP, MySQL, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. In all my years of web design, these are the 5 languages I use. Let me tell you, you can't do without any of them because they all do different things for the web. What HTML does, CSS cannot do. Maybe it can do some of it, but HTML is needed. CSS, what CSS does, HTML cannot even try. Maybe just 1%. JavaScript is also needed, and what JavaScript can do, CSS, HTML cannot do. What PHP and MySQL will do, the rest cannot do. So why do we choose a language? We choose a language because of the platform. I just explained that. If you want to develop desktop applications like VLC Media Player or Word, Excel. You want to develop a game that will run on people's laptops and desktops. That is desktop applications. Or maybe you want to be a mobile app developer. So the platform will inform your decision. And number 2 says the function. So like I told you before, when it comes to the web languages, all these 5 web languages I mentioned do different things. So if I need a function of JavaScript, I can't use CSS for it. It cannot work. So because of the kind of work I want to do, I may have to learn a number of languages. Sometimes you can choose from a number of programming languages for a particular function. What that means is that sometimes a number of languages can all do the same thing. So you can just choose. And sometimes a particular programming language can be cross-platform. C++ is a cross-platform programming language. I believe you can see that on the screen. C++ is a cross-platform programming language. That means if you learn C++, you can develop for desktop, for web, and for mobile. C++ is a cross-platform computer programming language. If you become a good user of C++, you can use C++ for desktop applications, for web applications, and for mobile apps. Did you know that you can build mobile apps with C++? Wait a minute. Apart from desktop, web, and mobile, C++ can also develop apps for Linux, for iOS, macOS, Windows, and all platforms. So C++ is not just a cross-device language, but a cross-OS language. Wow. This is one of the reasons why you need C++. And as the course progresses, you understand why C++ is very important. Now it is time for us to code. I'm going to take C and we are going to learn how to code. So little by little, we will start writing code. So I just want you to follow with me and let's write code. We are here to change to my PC2 and let me share my screen and it is time to code. From tomorrow, we'll be having quizzes. We'll be having quizzes, and so what will happen is that I will before we start each lesson, with that link, you'll be able to open the question live and answer live. And as you send your answers will be appearing to us live. All right, so we are going to use Visual Studio Code, and I encourage everyone to install Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it, you can use what you have, but it is extremely important and highly recommended that you use Visual Studio Code. We'll be changing the IDEs, and when it's time to change, we will all change. So for all of us to be on the same page, use Visual Studio Code. I believe you can see my screen. I'm going to click on File and New, and we are going to create a simple app. Now, this simple app we are going to create, the first thing we are going to do is to click here, which says Select a Language. I believe you can all see this, Select a Language. You click here, and it will list a number of languages, and your job is to choose C++ because we are going to develop in C++. So I'll click on C++ and C++ is selected. Before I begin, let me save my file before I begin coding. That way, everything is easier. Now, I want you to listen to me carefully. When you are developing with C++, especially with Visual Studio Code, there are certain things you need to keep in mind. Now, look at the file name I'm going to give. I'm going to zoom in for you to see the file name. When it comes to computer programming, every programmer has a particular program he or she writes when he's trying out any new language. So when you are trying out a new language, I believe you all know the program you have to write first. Everyone does it, so you just have to do that. Now, I'm going to create my file, and my file is this, hello world.cpp. CPP is not a political party. It is an extension of C++ files. So this simply means C++. Now, the attention I want to draw, what I want to draw attention to is a hello world. This hello world, you realize that I did not create any space. Please, I didn't bring any space. If you bring space, no matter how you write your code, it's not going to work. And so people will be sending their codes and saying that it's not working, it's not working. It will never work if you don't understand what I'm talking about now. Hello world.cpp, make sure there are no spaces. If you want to bring a space, it's better to use underscore or sometimes dash. But this one, we don't even need that. Don't bring any space, put all of them together. And from now onwards, don't save your project with spaces. All right, I believe you've all heard me, and I know that no one here will make that mistake. Now, when you save your file, it's going to appear right here. The name you gave to it will appear right here. So if you brought space in it, I will see it right from here. All right. Now, 90% of all C++ software or programs start with this line, hash include, hash include, hash include, hash include, hash include. Please, if you are here and you are hearing me and everything is clear, I want you to go to the chat and type hash include. Just put it in the chat. If your chat is not working, go to WhatsApp and post it on the platform. Post it anywhere you want. Hash include, hash include. Just do that for me now. In the chat, I'm expecting your hash include. Let it roll in right now. Hash include, wonderful, 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 wonderful. Hash include is coming in. Just do that for me. Now, I don't think you can ever write any C++ program without this particular preprocessor hash include. From tomorrow, we are going to go into details and understand what this hash include does. Today, it is going to include a file, and that file is called IO_stream. Please, I didn't say ice cream. I said IO_streams, not scream or stream. Now, IO stands for input output. So now that you know it's input output, I know you are not going to be worried anymore. So IO, then stream, just like streaming, live streaming. So just type IO stream in this angle brackets. This is less than. Excellent, excellent. Someone has already posted it in the chat. Please send me another post in the chat, and I want the full line, hash include IO stream. Please do that for me now. Hash include IO stream. I'm waiting for that now. Just put it in the chat right now. If your chat is not working, go to WhatsApp, post it on WhatsApp. If you are not part of the group, post it anywhere you like on WhatsApp. Let the whole world know that you are doing programming. Hash include IO stream. Do that for me. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. All right. Now, apart from hash include IO stream, we are going to write another line, which is also very popular. Again, from tomorrow, I'm going to talk about this IO stream more for you to understand how extremely vital it is and what it actually is. I'm going to introduce another line, and that line is also very popular. You cannot miss that line for anything. It's called using namespace STD. Please, STD doesn't stand for sexually transmitted disease. What it means is this: when I put my mouse on it, they'll tell me that it is a namespace STD, and this STD, it actually means standard. It means standard. That's what it means. It just means standard. All right. So this is the next line here. If you want to be a C++ developer, start soaking this into your system right now using namespace std semicolon. This one will have semicolon. This one will not have semicolon. Using namespace std. If you don't mind, give me this line in the chat using namespace std. Just post it in the chat for me right now, if you don't mind. So these two lines here, keep them in mind. I'm sure you've encountered them before. I'm sure you've encountered them before. When you were doing the installation, at least I gave you some examples. So the voice you were hearing in the installation, it was my own voice. I recorded that installation video, and so you can see that the voice is the same. All right. Now listen to me. I'm going to create a function here. To create a function, the first function I'm going to create is this. It starts with int, and then it goes like this: main, open and close parenthesis, open curly bracket, enter, 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 return 0, semicolon. All right, so what I've done here is super important. I've created a function. When you create a function, you declare the function over here. And then inside this curly bracket, you can bring it down here if you like, so that it will be on the same line. Whatever is inside the curly brackets is the body of that function. This is the declaration of the function. This is the definition of the function. What is in the body? Let me tell you, when it comes to C++, we are going to deal with functions a lot. Now, even if you've never created a function before, C++ will force you to create at least one function. This particular function, it is called the main function. And this function is a compulsory function. You can never have a C++ software without the main. So whether you've had any experience in creating functions or not, you have to create this function before you can use C++. To create a function, this is a structure. Just int main. Later in future, we'll learn void main. But if you use void, you can't return any value. So if you use void and you try returning a value, it's going to give you an error because void cannot return anything. Void means the function doesn't return anything. It's not supposed to return anything. Now, when I use int, it means the function can return a value. So you can see that I'm returning 0. And if you've done a little bit of math, you know that 0 is an integer. So I'm returning 0. Later, we are going to get into details and understand all these basic things. All right. I want you to soak these lines into your memories right now, because if you can memorize everything here, you have the skeleton of every C++ software. 98% of all C++ software have this skeleton. The only thing left is the body of the main. So in the main, we put our body here. But if you can remember this, you have a good structure. So let's put in some body. And the first body we will put in, we are going to type system CLS. And it simply means that our screen should be cleared. Our screen should be cleared. Then I'm going to write another popular object here, cout. This is not count or south. It is cout. It stands for console output. So we are going to output a message to the console right now, and we need to introduce an. It's less than, but it has a name. I'll tell you the name very soon. And you open quotes because send an output. We want to send a message out. So the quote we are going to open, we are going to type the famous hello world. And if you've heard anything about programming, every programmer writes a hello world before they start learning any language. There is not any ritual with any power. But then if you want to be a programmer, this is your first code you have to write in any language. When you get into Java, the first thing you should do is to write a hello world. Wow. When you get to Python, we are going to write hello world. Let me run this. Over here, we run our code from here. And when I run this, I'm going to see my hello world. I'm expecting my hello world. So let's see if we'll get our hello world. And right now, it is going through a process we call compilation or compiling. So this is a code for compiling. It is compiling with a compiler called G++. And this is my message, hello world. If you can do this, it means you have had a taste of C++. Taste of C++. All right. So this is what I want to show you today. I'll just add 3 other outputs, and then I'll take questions from you, and I'll give this to you as a challenge. I want you to do what I've done, and I want you to make some additions, some modifications, and make it better, because this is it. So let me add another cout. We've already seen that cout will push a message to the screen. So I want to push some more messages. I want to push another cout. Now listen to me. In C++, everything is case sensitive. You can't type cout like this. It will never be recognized. So it has to be in the right case. So it has to be small letters cout. And you come here and say, my name is, you put your name is, what your name there, whatever your name is, you put it there. And you can see that I'm using NL. We'll be learning about NL as well. And we are going to okay, my last line, cout. I'm proud to be a computer programmer. Bingo. So I'm done with my code right now. I'm done. This is a simple code, and all of these are messages that are coming on the screen. So let me run them, and you'll see that they are all messages being pushed onto the screen with the cout command. So you can see that, hello world, my name is Darlington Fadams. I am a new C++ developer, and I'm proud to be a computer programmer. So that is it. I want you to create this first program for me. Tomorrow, I would like to see your screen. I want to see what you've done. And let me tell you, this is the beginning, the first step of a greater height you are going to achieve. Let me tell you one thing. If you want to move to the top, you will not be helicoptered to the top of the mountain. It doesn't work that way. You have to climb the mountain little by little, and one day you'll get to the top. You are not expected to get to the top at once. That is why when you are born, you are not expected to be a man on the first day. Get married, start having children. Come on. God knows that in as much as the world needs you, you have to go through life as a baby, learn from scratch, and grow and become a man or a beautiful woman. And now you can have children and get married. So thank you very much. Don't play with what we've done here. Don't take it lightly. We are not here to joke. We are not here to play. Take this seriously. This is something basic and simple, but it is the first step to greater works. Thank you all for joining me. I hand over to our moderator, Mr. Peter.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor, for this great time as well. It's our second day of the evening session. And a quick thing to add to what Professor said concerning if you want to get to the top, it's a process. I want to add that, Bible talks about the first Adam and the last Adam. The first Adam being the Adam we all knew was formed out of the dust of the earth, and the second Adam and the last Adam being Jesus Christ. Now, one of the reasons that is given for the failure of the first Adam was because he was born a fully grown man, and then he went straight into marriage. But Jesus was born a baby. He was in the womb. He was born. He went through all the processes of life. He was weaned from breast milk and all that. So he went through adolescence. He knows what it means by people feeling having some jiggy jiggy within themselves, but to control themselves. So he went through all of that. And so he knows us very well. He understands us very well. That's why he's the last Adam and he's Jesus. And so for us to get to the top, we can't skip the processes. We must go through it all and we'll get there. Some of us will feel that these things we are doing now, they are too basic. Those who are for week 3 now, the morning session, we've gotten to a place of the coding that I realized that we needed all of these things, the basics, before we can get to where we are now. And, it's a build-up. So please, let's not take the small beginnings as lightly, but then they are very important. At this point, I want to open the floor. If there's any question you want to ask, any clarification or any feedback you want to give, please, let's have you. You can just show by hand if you have a question, an input, a reaction, or anything of sort. Please, let's have it. All right. So, Brother Richard, please unmute yourself and then you can talk to us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening. Unfortunately, I couldn't follow through the processes of getting the hash include IOStream and the others. How am I going to? By the end of the session, the whole thing is going to go off. So how am I going to follow through the process and bring the assignment tomorrow?
All right, thank you, Richard, for that beautiful question. So week 1, as you're aware, is a free trial. Right after the session, we'll share the link of the video. You could download it and then watch it again and again. That is for only week 1. Week 2, then we go into the pay system. If you want the recordings, you pay 5 cedis for a session, or you pay 20 Ghana cedis for all 6 sessions in a week. And so you can have the video right after the meeting. The link will be shared on the evening WhatsApp platform and you can access it. Yep. All right. So let's have Mr. Peter or Brother Peter. Please unmute yourself and then you can talk to us.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So talking of the codes from the 6th line to the 7th, did you leave out spaces before typing in the codes, the languages? I mean,
You mean from the 6 to what?
12, yeah.
All right. So the thing is that with this main function, the very last line that should appear is a return. So most of the time when I'm creating my main, I'll just create it int main like this. And then I'll hit enter several times and type return 0 like this. So I know that my return is there. Then I'll come up here and start putting in my code. So whatever I want to do here, I can just go ahead and do over here. So the reason why I left those spaces is just to create a room for the main function and get the room to add whatever I want to add, but then I add it in the body. So the body is here. This is the body of the main. In the body, the last line should be this. So that is how come we left those spaces. But when you are done coding, you can just clean up and make sure everything looks okay. What I have here, I don't think there's any problem. I think it looks okay. This space here is okay. It's fine.
All right. So, Brother Peter, I hope your question has been answered.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So now let's have Montari. Please unmute yourself, Montari, and you can speak to us.
Good evening to everybody in the group.
Good evening.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah,
Loud and clear.
I'm actually a beginner. I'm a beginner, and I'm trying to get to know all C++ is all about. And honestly speaking, everything happened very fast. I couldn't catch up from number 2 downwards. Everything happened very, very fast. But I've been able to follow what the professor has written, the code he has written. I have everything on my laptop now, but then how he started coding, I couldn't get that. But then I've been able to follow what he has written on his screen, and I've also gotten that on my screen as well. But then everything happened so fast.
Maybe it's that. Were you there when we were sending the hash include?
Yes,
Did you
please.
send
Yes.
the IO stream and all that? All right. So I said that. Don't worry. In the course of, from tomorrow, we are going to explain what hash include is, what IO stream is, what namespaces are, this STD, what it is, this main, what it is, system CLS, what is that, C out, what is this, this left shift operator, what is this, NL, even semicolon, we are going to talk about them. So don't worry at all, just follow through, don't miss the lessons. We are going to explain every single thing you see. Even this 0, we will explain it. This return, we will explain it. So don't worry at all. Today is just to allow you write your first code. So I'm happy you've written the first code. Make sure you run it and make sure it works. When you run it, you are supposed to see in the terminal this black screen, and the compiling will take place, and then you see your name. Make sure your name is here, and you see this. If you can see this, what I'm having on my screen now, it means you have written a program in C++. This is the very first step every great programmer goes through. So just do this today and you are good to go.
Okay, so Montari, I hope this explanation finds you well. And so this is for you to have a feel of what programming is all about. And like Professor said, don't worry, every little bit of it will be explained, every bit of it. So don't worry, just make sure you're able to write the code, run it, and you see the same thing on your console, and you'll be fine. All right. Then let's have Leah. Please unmute and then you can talk to us. Leah.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Could the professor go back to the system clear? Okay. Now earlier you said when we're to write the hello world, we're not supposed to leave any spaces. So I just wanted to be a bit clear on this. How come after the system CLS, there's spaces between the hello and the world, and then the other sentences as well?
All right, that's a beautiful question. These are the questions I expect. Now, let me explain it for you to understand. Of course, you can see a lot of spaces everywhere here, but the spaces here are within the code. Where I indicated that there shouldn't be space is the naming of the file, the CPP file. If you see this hello world, this is a file name. It's just like typing a document in Word and you want to save it. When you are saving it, you need to give it a name. A Word document doesn't mind if you leave spaces, but over here, when you are saving your work, don't save it with spaces. So that only applies to saving. It doesn't apply to the coding. It only applies to what? The saving. So when you go to File and Save or Save As, make sure there are no spaces in the file name. Watch here, you are going to see file name. This file name here, there shouldn't be any space. Please, do you get it?
Yes, thank you.
Brilliant.
All right. So any other question? If you just have a question, just raise your hand and then. Okay, so Solomon is here to ask a question. But Solomon, please unmute and you can talk to us.
Good evening to all of us here.
Good evening.
Yesterday I was here. I'm here today too. I've joined the morning class. So yesterday I talked about how the class has been helpful to me. Today I came again to still encourage my people here. I've been following through and through. You see, someone was asking questions and I realized that he was on the same level I was 3 weeks ago. But today I can tell you that I've been able to write a simple code on my own. And in fact, the motivations that professor has been giving, one I'll never forget is he says that sometimes opportunities are like hard work. I don't know if I'm able to quote it well, but that statement alone has been moving me. It's get me going. So I have a friend who joined yesterday. Today he said he doesn't want to join because he didn't understand the thing yesterday. But professor said something today that you cannot be on the top of a mountain just within a day or within just a step. So I'm here to encourage those of you who may be thinking that maybe you don't understand the thing and you want to quit. 3 weeks ago, I was in the same position. I wanted to quit, but I didn't. And today, like I said, I've been able to write a code on my own. One day, as the class progresses, I will talk to the professor if he allow me. I will share a simple code I've been able to write, I've run, and it's very, very successful. So the only thing I want us to do is to put in effort and the hard work. It pays. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Solomon, for always encouraging those of us who are just joining. And then, so like you heard, Brother Solomon said, he's not an IT person. He's never had any coding experience anywhere. Unlike some of us that we've done a few courses and we've had a feel of it, but he was, zero to it. But with 3, like I said, whatever we are doing now, you might feel that some of them are just on the low key. Some of them, what is this? You right, just like we're taking it. Thank God, this is not the first session. There's a morning session, and there are testimonies to what we are doing so far. We are coding. There's no two ways about it, and this is how we started. And so don't worry about how we are going. Before you know it, like Professor explained to somebody, he's going to explain what hash include means, what the IO stream means, what using namespace Std means, int main, why do we bring the brackets, why return 0, all of that will be made so clear. So if you have the mindset to stop, please, you might be stopping too early. Wait until we are done with week 1, and then we step into week 2, and you know whether we are in for business or not. Like we said, this is a bootcamp, it's a back-to-back, and the target is that at the end of it all of us here will be able to write correct programs, and then we can compete with other programmers. That's the surety we are given. And so don't worry at all. That's why any question you have, we are supposed to sign out. But if there's any question again bothering the mind, please, you can raise your hand. Let's have it before we go. One other thing we'll be doing is that, so for instance, the code we have on the screen now, it will be shared. So we'll share the recording, we'll share the code itself, we'll take a screenshot of it, and we'll share as well. So you can go back, type same thing, don't change the cases. If it's a lower case, just type the lower case. Don't try to do it your own way. Type exactly as it is, but don't write Darlington Fadams. Write your own name there. My name is, then you put your name there, and then run it. You see that you'll be able to see exactly what he's writing as well. So no worries at all, at all. If there's any other question, I can receive at least one more, and then we can sign out. All right, so I see a hand. My namesake. Oh, my namesake is gone. I saw Peter's hand, it's gone. The hand is gone again. All right. Okay, the hand is back. Okay, I see Hawa as well, but let's receive Peter first. Please unmute, and then you can talk to us.
Okay, I wanted to ask why at first he was like the lecture was when you are entering the code, you shouldn't enter with block letters or any, but I saw the hello world and other writings started with a block, but I thought of it and maybe I think tomorrow you might mention of it. So that is why I put my hand down. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Certainly. So hello world is a string value. And so, like you said, he would explain all of that tomorrow. So that one is a text he's writing. So with the text, depending on where it is coming in, you can write it that way. Because that's what you are seeing. When you say see out, that's what you're going to display. So we'll get deeper into explaining why all of those. So no worries at all. I mean, the
Okay,
questions
now
are so valid. Yeah, the questions are so valid and we appreciate them. Sister Hawa, let's have you. Please unmute yourself and then talk to us. Sister Hawa, please unmute yourself and talk to us. All right, let me receive Kumfi Francis. So Brother Francis, please unmute yourself and talk to us. Brother Francis.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Francis, your mic is muted, so if you can unmute and talk to us.
Hello.
Hello, Francis, we can hear you.
All right. I was saying that with the application that you asked us to download, I haven't downloaded. So I was going through the chat and I realized that there's some.
Francis, we can hear you, but we're getting a feedback.
There was a feedback. Yes, that was why I was trying to close one. I was saying that the applications that you asked us to download,
Okay.
unfortunately, I couldn't download it. So I went through the chat and I realized that there are some videos that was instructing us as to how to install
That's right.
On the platform. And then there is another video another application that you can use your phone to operate. So I wasn't certain about which and which are you supposed to download.
Okay. All right. So, like Professor said in the presentation as well, we'll be using various IDEs, but currently we are using Visual Studio Codes. Later on, we'll be asked to download code blocks, and we'll be using that as well. But currently, we're using the Visual Studio Codes. So the YouTube links you have are links that Professor himself put together to help anybody who wants to install the Visual Studio Codes to use. So use that to install on your machine. That is on the desktop or a laptop. That is, if you go to YouTube, you see how to install the Visual Studio Codes. Now, the other one you could install on your phone, it's more or less for practice purposes. So on your phone, when we are done learning on Visual Studio Codes, you now know how to write a code and all of that. You just go onto your phone and then you can write same codes, run it, and you get the same result. So for the phone, it's just an additional advantage that you could use to practice. So where you are not with your laptop, you can still write a code and see how the code pans out. That is just what it is. But when it comes to the class itself, we're using the Visual Studio Codes. Now, so if you join the class with your phone, at the moment, you might not be able to use the phone at the same time to be coding. That might be the little challenge for you. But when we are done, you can still use your phone and write the codes. They should run well. Once the application you downloaded for the phone supports C++, then you are good to go. I don't know whether that explanation does it for you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. So let's receive Afo Kobla Ziga. Please unmute yourself and talk to us. Afo Kobla.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I'm only having a little challenge here. After putting in the hash include, I can see some red line under my hash include.
Okay.
The first line, yes, I could see some red line under it. And apart from that, I've gotten everything on my system, but I want to know after doing everything how to compile it. It just skipped me a little. So I want the professor to refresh me on that.
Okay. Professor.
Do you see this? Do you see this run button on your your app? Yeah.
Yes,
So that's
please.
where we compile. Once you click on
Okay.
it, it's going to compile. Make sure you have saved the file. If it is not
All
saved,
right.
save it. Then you compile from here. That's all.
Okay. Okay. So after compiling, how do I run it?
That is the same thing. The
Okay.
run code here is compiling and running.
Okay.
So they are not two separate things. Once you run, you are compiling and running.
All right.
Later,
All right.
we're learning compiling from the menu here. We are going to learn how to build tags. But that one will be later.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much for that powerful question. I want to believe there is no other question, but even if there is, let's engage the WhatsApp platform, and then administrators are ready to answer you and give you suitable responses that will help you out. And so, by way of reminders, so there's a 14-week program. The first week is entirely free. From next week, Sunday, we will now enter into the pay week or the pay system, and it's a prepaid system. So if you per week is 10 cedis, but if you want to pay for the entire 13 weeks, I mean, being a one-time payment, instead of paying 130 Ghana cedis, you have a discount of 30 Ghana cedis off. And so once you pay 100 Ghana cedis, it caters for the entire C++ programming for the rest of the 13 weeks. And so we have our Momo and MTN numbers that will be displayed on the platform, and you can use that. Again, when you make payment, reference it your name and then week number. If it's from week 2 to 14, so just your name. Now, this name we're talking about should be the very name you would use to enter into the Microsoft Teams, because definitely you pass through the lobby and we'll confirm payment before we allow access into the meeting. And so please make sure you reference the payment, the name with which you would log into the Microsoft Teams. Very important. The slides will be for this week as well. The slides will be shared for free. All slides, even for the paid weeks, the slides will be shared for free. And then the recordings for this week as well. Once we are done, please let me know how many people were able to access the first day's video. I sent the link yesterday. You were able to access it. Just let me know in the chat, or just a wave to show that you were able to access it, because the link was shared almost immediately after the meeting. Today's recording will equally be, the link will be shared right after the meeting, so you can access it again, listen to what we did, and then you can go through again. All right. So, but when we enter the pay week, a session will be 5 Ghana cedis, and then 20 Ghana cedis for all 6 sessions if you want all. That is the week. Okay. Somebody said this is my first day. Okay, that's fine. So I can still repeat the link for the first day's recording, so you can have access to it. So that's about the recordings. Then after the C++ programming language, we would give certificates. InfoSource Technological Institute is a subsidiary of Agape Harvest Institute, and then we are fully accredited. And so our certificates are genuine and they are fully accredited as well. So don't worry about what we are offering you. You've had the experience of the professor, 17 good years of industry experience, and 7 undiluted, uninterrupted years of practical lecturing and teaching. So, he knows what it's about. In the morning, somebody asked whether we were going to add other programs to it, either in the morning or I think yesterday's session. And so there are lots of programs will be running, bootcamps will be running, be doing SQL, Oracle, databases, access, and all of that. They are all in the pipeline. So one after the other, and we'll be good to go. And so certificate to be awarded, and at a fee of 100 Ghana cedis only. And so let's be preparing for all of this. And when we are done with the 3rd programming language being Python, then we're going to have a mammoth graduation ceremony. And I know you can't wait to be part of it. And so these are the few announcements. The very last one I'll give is that let's become ambassadors of the InfoSource C++ Coding Bootcamp. Let's get our colleagues, our friends joining. And the regrets will never come. We are giving value for money. So like Solomon shared his own testimony, it started like you are starting this week. And by the 3rd week, and we're talking about 3rd week, day 2, not 3rd week, day 6. So it means just 2 weeks down the line, and he's able to write his own code, and it works perfectly. So it tells you the in-depth explanation and teaching that is going on in this bootcamp. So thank you very much for joining. Let's have a final word from Professor, and then we'll sign out. Professor.
All right. So my final word is that let's stick to this. Like I said yesterday, this is just the beginning. Maybe at this time you have not gotten the clue yet, but stick with it, and very soon everything will make sense to you. So thank you all for joining us, and I wish you a blessed evening.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor. Stick with it, and then we'll be good to go. If you want to get to the top, you go through a process. Wait for the process, and then you would be okay. So it's a bye from us. Have a good night, and we're meeting tomorrow again, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.